Some television shows are shot in a week's time, but not Star Trek, with a budget of over $1 million per episode. The process from start date to final editing can take a month or longer to complete.
I think sometimes you people who started in Hollywood and spent a lot of time here forget how really incredible this town is. We have people here that can do anything. And we have other people who try. But this is a rich reservoir of talent. And a person who is willing to use it and willing to let other people make decisions and so on is bound to be successful.
Well, I hope now the audience appreciates just a little more the amount of work that is involved with producing a series like Star Trek. Now, let's jump from the small screen to the big screen.
Now, as promised, we'd like to discuss the making of our motion picture Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country. One of Hollywood's most respected talents, Christopher Plummer, makes a special guest appearance along with Kim Cattrall, Rosanna DeSoto, David Warner, and Mark Leonard as Spock's father, Sarek. Once again, our story parallels current events in our own lifetime. The title, The Undiscovered Country, is based on a line from Shakespeare's Hamlet, symbolizing the unknown future that two vastly different cultures must ultimately face. In this case, the Federation and the Klingons.
The Klingon Empire has 50 years of life left to it.
To offer Klingons a safe haven within Federation space is suicide.
They're animals.
Jim, they are dying.
You, Captain Kirk, are to be our first olive branch.
Me?
We have volunteered to meet the ship which is bringing Chancellor Gorkin here and escort him safely through Federation space.
We volunteered?
This is the Starship Enterprise. We've been ordered to escort you to your meeting on Earth.
Guess who's coming to dinner?
I have so wanted to meet you, Captain. One warrior to another.
Right.
The undiscovered country refers to the future. And as you know, the world in which we are living is turning upside down even as we speak.
The undiscovered country. The future.
If only these two enormous rivals would not blow everything up with their dreadful weapons of destruction. And then somebody says, okay.
Take two, Parker.
That's the undiscovered country.
Would you be willing to give up Starfleet?
I believe the captain feels that Starfleet's mission has always been one of peace.
So it really has this kind of feeling of the two major powers of the universe. And there's that nice corollary on Earth with the two major powers of Earth, the United States and the USSR.
You hypocritically presume that your democratic system gives you the moral prerogative to force other cultures to conform to your politics.
That's not true.
No?
No.
It's going to be a whodunit, this story. And I think the audience will be guessing right until the end as to who the culprits are.
We come in peace, and you blatantly defy that.
We haven't fired.
According to our databanks, we have.
I shall blow you out of the stars.
They're coming about.
Battle stations.
Incoming.
Signal our surrender.
Captain?
We surrender.
Once again, we've teamed up with the talented crew at George Lucas's Industrial Light and Magic to create some thrilling new special effects.
One story point in this film is that the Enterprise, poor old Enterprise, takes a pummeling, and it's getting hit repeatedly from another ship with photon torpedoes banging against it while its shields are up. So we have to leave scars in it, so it gets hit time after time.
They're very expensive models. So each one is probably, we're talking hundreds of $1,000s for each of those models. Well, the Enterprise is probably $800,000.
This is an interesting design of the ship. Before this, spaceship was either a rocket or a flying saucer. The warp engines here are away from the hull because what they do basically is warp space, almost like a surfboard riding on a wave. And they have to be away from the ship because when they do that, they create this horrible electric field that if you were standing next to, you'd be incinerated. So that's the reasoning as to why they're away from the ship. And they create this space that the ship is able to move faster than light.
The cast and crew had to rise to the challenge of a tough shooting schedule in order to have a release ready for our 25th anniversary. From wardrobe to makeup, every department put in plenty of man-hours with the understanding that they were creating something very special.
Yeah, the scope of this is triple anything that they've ever done before. And also in Hollywood, this is probably one of the largest prosthetic shows that have come down the wire since Planet of the Apes. And anything to compare with it, Back to the Future or Dick Tracy, which still don't even hold a candle to this.
Massive amounts of Klingons and some aliens sprinkled in here and there.
Several extraordinary locations were used in Star Trek VI, including the rough terrain of Alaska. Freezing temperatures and slippery ice were only part of the challenge of shooting there.
Even the stunt doubles that I took to Alaska on the second unit, you know, they had 3.5 hours of makeup. They'd be up at, 2, 3 in the morning, and then we'd fly 40 minutes by helicopter to this glacier, and it would be below freezing in the morning. By noon, they were sweating, and they had this heavy, we were so concerned that they were going to freeze to death. Now I had a problem that they were going to perspire and catch pneumonia. And then, of course, the cold would set in at the end. So everybody, from stuntman to stars, ran into a lot of personal sacrifice to make this movie.
What rock not push there?
The Universal Translator was confiscated. I'm sorry?
Este Crest Crew, unto Premorescue, on deck.
He's definitely on about something, Jim.
Quadratna, pushnak!
If this is your spot, we'll move on.
Quadratna, pushnak!
Portions of this surreal ice planet were shot on a soundstage, where Kirk and McCoy battle against the elements and encounter voluptuous aliens.
I play an alien, a female alien. Her name is Martia. She's a cameloid. That means she can change. She's like a chameleon. She changes physique from time to time. She's a good girl, but she is a villain.
We're outside the shield. Now it's your turn, Captain.
If you say so.
Ah!
Left to the left. Right chop to the neck.
Chop to the neck.
2 jabs and a right.
As we said earlier, the Klingon Empire figures prominently in this storyline. And for actor Michael Dorn, who plays Lieutenant Worf on the current TV series, it was a once-in-a-lifetime chance to blend together 2 generations.
My character is the grandfather of the character I play on the Next Generation television show. He is a defense attorney, and he is pressed into service to defend Kirk and Bones in the Klingon court.
Objection! Captain Kirk has not been identified as the assassin.
Sustained.
I offer into the record this excerpt from the captain's personal log.
I've never trusted Klingons. And I never will. I've never been able to forgive them for the death of my boy.
We would consider any attempt to rescue them an act of war.
There will never be a better time.
This is Captain Sulu, USS Excelsior. We stand ready to assist you.
This is fun.
You do prefer it this way, as it was meant to be. Warrior to warrior.
You cannot take much more of this. Cry havoc!
Shields! And let's slip the dogs of war. Fire!
Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country.
Congratulations, Gene, on 25 years of Star Trek, and thank you to everyone who has watched and supported us and supported them.
25 years ago, a unique television show became another symbol for what astronaut Buzz Aldrin called the insatiable curiosity of all mankind to explore the unknown. By portraying a positive vision of the future, Star Trek has captured the imagination of millions and strengthened their support for space travel and exploration. For that, everyone associated with Star Trek deserves congratulations. Happy anniversary.
Who knows what tomorrow holds for us in this vast realm of galaxies and planets above us? Well, one thing that might help us get a better understanding of the future is to check the developments of NASA and other scientists around the world. Currently, we wait upon the launch of the Endeavour and other space shuttle missions to gain further scientific information. In addition, plans are underway to construct a massive space station called Freedom.
I would hope in the future that we develop a way that's more cost-effective, that's more like Star Trek, that uses the same spacecraft over and over again. And the only way we can do that is to refurbish them somewhere, and bringing them back down to the surface of the Earth is not always the best way. So that means we need to refurbish them in space, and that means we need a spaceport.
And paralleling Star Trek's goal of seeking new life and new civilization, scientists in London have made an amazing discovery, a brand new planet in the solar system which could contain life.
You know, we think about our solar system and the planets in it, and what a lot of people don't realize is that Star Trek kind of portrayed is there's lots of other solar systems out there. And although we believe that we're probably the only life in this solar system, who's to say that some other solar system, just like Star Trek portrayed, might have, you know, human-type inhabitants.
We hope that in the last 2 hours, you've enjoyed watching us trace the history of Star Trek in order to find out what makes it such an extraordinary legend. Both Leonard and I have argued about what elements have made it last so long, but there are no easy answers.
We've mentioned that part of the success lies in the ideas, both hidden and obvious, inherent in the stories. Kids can watch the show for the action, the adventure, the fun. Then you can revisit years later and discern something you weren't aware of. Second of all, it's thoughtful science fiction. It's not just people shooting each other, and the one who knocks out the other one is the winner.
There's also a special chemistry between this particular family of actors and characters. Audiences seem to respond favorably to that. In fact, they enjoy watching these people grow older and adjusting to events from a more mature perspective.
One thing is for certain. It has generated fans from around the world for its portrayal of a culture we'd like to live in.
Star Trek appeals to a higher denominator. It appeals to the imagination, to the mind. It is allegory that deals with issues disguised. And the loyalty to Star Trek, I think, is because people say, I'm a Star Trek fan, and that marks me as something special.
I think ultimately for me, what fascinates and compels me are those characters, are those actors, if you like. That there is what I call the extraterrestrial quality known as charm, which these people possess in abundance.
Star Trek has kept its promise of going where none have gone before. One person who can sum up the philosophy of this extraordinary 25-year legend is its creator, Gene Roddenberry.
Because it speaks to some basic human needs, that there is a tomorrow. It's not all going to be over with a big flash and a bomb, that the human race is improving, that we have things to be proud of as humans. No, astronauts, ancient astronauts did not build the pyramids. Human beings built them because they're clever and they work hard. And Star Trek is about those things.